Dorrie, you focus on legislation and public communication around safer nicotine products.
Yes.
So, can you tell me what's the biggest challenge in changing public opinion about harm reduction in the Netherlands?
Okay. Well, that's a very, very difficult and also important question, of course. In the Netherlands, the public opinion is 80% approximately of smokers think that, for instance, vapes are more harmful than cigarettes. So fighting that public opinion or trying to change it is very difficult. So there's a lot of misconception, and which is also introduced or sustained by government institutions by saying we think that e-cigarettes are more harmful than ever thought, and trying to twist statistics information. So that makes it very difficult. So there's no silver bullet, or there's no way that we can change the public perception or opinion, because as a trade association we are like tied or limited to what we can say. So unfortunately I cannot say, okay, we should do this or should do that. What we did do is try to find consumers and try to help them also, or at least trying ways that they were able to voice their concerns. And so that's what we do.
What are the main difficulties in regulating e-cigarettes in the country?
They used to be regulated, in fact, but now we have so many regulations which turned out into bans. So we are over-regulated. And what happened to consumers, of course, they are no longer able to find legal regulated products in the Netherlands, especially when we talk about e-cigarettes. What happened in the Netherlands is that we have a flavor ban, a white list of 16 ingredients that you can only make tobacco flavor with, well, hardly tobacco flavor. So what happened is that consumers do not want to use that product, so they go outside, they go to other countries. We are a very small country, so they go to Germany or they go to Belgium. There are busloads going every week, and they buy their products there. So what happened is there's this vicious cycle. Of course, we have seen experimentation of e-cigarettes in the Netherlands by young people. That turned into legal action or restrictions, of course, of the legal product. But children and young people turned into, they bought their products in the black market. So the problem didn't get solved. So what happened is more restrictions to legal products. And now adult smokers who would benefit to transition to a lesser harmful product, they are not able to do that in the Netherlands.
What's happening with black market of vaping in the Netherlands?
Yeah, it's huge. So our trade association, like the sales, the volume, has dropped by 80%. But consumers didn't quit. So what happened is that smart people who are thinking, okay, I can better use a regulated product, they go abroad. But the rest just buys it from the black market, which is readily available. And it's really super easy for young people to buy their products from social media, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever. And that's what they do. But these products are like the huge, like 20,000 puffs products. And they buy that. And they use that with way more nicotine than allowed and way more volume than allowed. So the government has created a situation that they can't contain and they cannot protect children. So that's what happened.
This year's strapline is challenging perceptions, effective communications for tobacco harm reduction. So, what are the biggest barriers for communicating about THR in Netherlands?
Yeah. So, well, if authorities in the Netherlands add to the misconception and say, okay, vaping is not less harmful than smoking, people just don't know what to believe. If they try to find the information, if they would really be curious, they don't read scientific news. So what they do is they read just everything they can find through Google or whatever, and they get very negative news about e-cigarettes. So you have these two opposites, the harm reduction promoters and the tobacco control people that say no, you shouldn't change the one addiction to the other, and they all have their own ingrained beliefs. So it's very difficult to try to get through that, so to break these opposites. But ultimately, we want the same. We want just people to help to quit smoking and become more healthier. So the idea would be to try to bring more of a nuance into and start a dialogue without telling, okay, you should think this or you should think that. So trying to bridge the differences. But that's a challenge, so we will try. And use the consumers' voice. I guess that's also something that, because they can share their own stories and their own experience.
So, why is education so important in THR?
Yes, it is. It is. But if you are like opposite, the thing that happens is like confirmation bias. So you find only, or you listen only to the information that is helping you to think what you're already thinking. So education is important, but the question is how can you bring that education across? So when I look at science, it's very difficult to understand what they exactly mean. So it would be helpful, and I think they have started doing that more and more, that scientists also are able to make their information really like super simple. So lay people that are not scientists and aren't used to reading science, they understand like what it means in day-to-day living, and there is just we should be trying to get that across and heard by the people that need that the most, I guess.
Okay. Thank you so much, though.
Okay, it
Thank
was
you.
a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.